All righty, Wolfpack and Davis Go-Getters. So you guys booked the shows last week, right? With our fabulous booking blitz that we have. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. I know many of you guys booked parties for your calendar, which was exciting. It was exciting to see all of you guys working together and kind of pushing each other to do it. So this week we're going to focus on host coaching, because really you can have all the bookings that you want, but unless you're host coaching them, there's really no value in just booking a show, right? So we want to make each and every single show that we book mean something. And what that's going to do for you is, number one, it's going to give you sales. And number two, it's going to give you bookings for the future. And then number three, it's going to give you recruit leads. Okay, so all three pieces that you absolutely need to have a successful business come from host coaching, whether you believe it or not. So the first thing you need to do for really, really good host coaching is to always be prepared, okay? So being prepared starts with your calendar. I know you guys have heard me preach this a million times, but your calendar, you need to know when you can work, okay? When you can work is a very involved thing, okay? So when I say when you can work, that doesn't just mean when you can have shows. That also means when you can schedule time for yourself to be in your office to actually do all of the pieces that I'm getting ready to teach you guys how to do when it comes to host coaching shows. Now, I'll tell you, I know that we have a good split of consultants that do both cooking shows and virtual parties, or a combination in between. And for the most part, I would say my host coaching doesn't change, okay? Now, I'll tell you from the virtual perspective, be on the lookout, like I said about a week ago, for Tiffany is going to be leading a training here in the next couple of weeks for you guys. A part of it's going to be on host coaching. Her and Kristen, we're hoping to pair both of them up. We're going to do part of it on virtual host coaching, and then the other part on virtual shows themselves, okay? So my thoughts is this. Yeah, I do virtual parties. I suck at them. Hopefully you know that, because I'm pretty honest about my success or failure. I'm not as good with virtual parties as I am with cooking shows, because honestly, they're too much time for me. So I would rather do a million cooking shows compared to one virtual party, but I know that we all feel differently about that. And so I want to make sure you guys are getting the best training that you can get. And so who better to teach you virtuals than Tiffany and Kristen, which are our top two consultants with virtual parties. So back to the calendar. So you have to know when you can work. Knowing when you can work is really important, because again, it's going to let you carve out time for all of the things that you need to do in your business. You need to know when your family time is, when your personal time is, and when your work time is, okay? How many of you guys have heard me say this a million times? Raise your hand if you have. Everybody's hand should hopefully be up, because, yeah, thanks, Chris. Because it's super important to know when you can work, okay? So my personal time or my family time always comes first on my calendar, because that's ultimately what is the most important thing for me is my family. We can do everything in our business, but the thing that we don't want to fight is our family. So family time needs to come first on your calendar. Family time is going to be all of those things from, the kids' sporting events, the kids' graduation, the kids' school stuff, the kids' doctor's appointments, the husband's whatevers. Okay, so all of that needs to be on your calendar so you know exactly what you're doing. Secondly, your personal time. You have to make time for yourself. I don't care if it's scheduling yourself 1 hour a week to just take a nap, okay? It doesn't really matter what it is as long as it's on there, okay? And then your work time. Your work time is going to be both your shows and then everything you need to do to prepare for your shows. So typically, if you would look at my calendar, which is out there, but most of you guys have seen my controlled chaos in my calendar, to know that I'm very methodical when I work, because I need to leave time during the week to be able to prepare myself for all of the shows that I do. And so, typically I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with doing shows, which leaves me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to prepare for them, but I still need to have some time to myself. So normally on Wednesdays, most of the time is when I'll only work a couple hours. And the rest of the day I really try, or Tuesday, actually I've switched it to Tuesdays because I'm bowling on Tuesday nights. So I've kind of switched things around so that I still have time for myself. but I still have to have a couple hours where I can work. So that's really step number one to really, really good host coaching is actually know when you can work, okay? And then when you know when you can work, you have to know what you're going to do on those days, right? Would you guys all agree you need to know what you're going to do with the time? So many times before I did this to myself, I would go to my office, I would sit down, and then I would thumb through Facebook or, I would do a million other things that really didn't need to be a priority at that moment. So you have to know how to prioritize yourself and your schedule in regards to your shows. Your shows are going to be what makes you money, okay? Yes, the other things, the making graphics, the making outlines, the blah, 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 that keeps going on and on and on. Those eventually are going to help you, but that's not really what's going to make you your money. Your money is going to be made by effective host coaching, which means making every single show that you hold $1,000 show, right? Or the best party that party can be. So again, it all starts with your calendar. So I would tell you, again, we're going to focus mostly on cooking shows because that's really my bread and butter. That's really the bread and butter of our company. Yeah, we can do all of these other types of shows, fundraisers, bridal showers, blah, 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 blah. But really, it all comes back to the cooking show. Everything comes back to the cooking show because it really is what Pampered Chef's always been about. Everything that we do as far as our host coaching goes, things are really no different, okay? You can alter them slightly. You're not as involved with recipes and, those kinds of things with virtual parties. But in reality, I really feel like host coaching on a virtual sense, you actually have to stay more glued to your host with a virtual party than what you do with a cooking show. So I'm going to walk you guys through my cooking show routine, okay? And I will tell you it's pretty extensive. Those of you guys that have seen it before, yeah, it's pretty extensive. But I can tell you honestly, though, if you would see my results, I have a $925 cooking show average. I've done $417,000 in 6.5 years in sales. So I would say following a routine has yielded me great results, right? So it's definitely worth it to be this involved in making sure that each and every show counts. So most of the time I book my parties at parties, okay, which that's a whole nother training, right? But that's really where we're going to start our host coaching at. So every single show, no matter whether it's a virtual show or a cooking show, you always have to be prepared that you're going to book shows. Okay. If you go to a show or you're having a virtual party and you have it in your mind, man, I really hope somebody's going to book a party. Guess what's going to happen? They're not going to book a party. You need to know it up here before it happens that you are able to book parties. You are a booking magnet, right? When you are confident about things that you speak, whether it's a product, whether it's our business opportunity, or whether it's booking a show, people are attracted to confidence. Okay. If you're not confident about it, normally it's going to do the exact opposite and it's going to push people away. So I will tell you, I never go to a cooking show with less than 3 host packets at every single party because my goal is to always book at least 2 shows, but really my goal is to book 3 shows at every single party. Why do we want to book 2 shows? We want to book 1 show to replace the show you just had and 1 to grow your business with. Okay, so your goal, whether it's a virtual show or a cooking show, is to always book at least 2 parties from every single show, no matter what. So when I make host packets, I don't make them 1 at a time, or I don't make them 1 or 2 at a time. I make them about 20 to 25 at a time. And that way I'm not wasting a bunch of time making host packets all the time. Does that make sense to you guys? So we sit down, we do one thing that's repetitive. We do it maybe for an extra 10 or 15 minutes, but you've already got all the materials out to make extra packets. So you do it all at one time. So again, you're not coming back to it constantly, okay? It's not something that's not going to yield you money, right? Making host packets does not yield you money, guys, okay? So you don't want to waste a bunch of extra time on something that's not going to yield you money. So you want to always be prepared with host packets. Every show you go to, your host packets go with you. So when does host coaching actually start? Does anybody know? We're quiet tonight. So in my opinion, host coaching actually starts the moment that somebody books a party with you, okay? It doesn't start 1 week from now. It doesn't start 2 weeks from now. It starts the moment that you hand them that host packet. Or, excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. Or the moment that they book a show within that virtual party. So what's important about being able to hand them a host packet at the actual cooking show is the fact that you can start the coaching process right there and walking them through the host packet. You're able to get their contact information, and you can also find out something that's really, really important, which is what's the best time to call them or talk to them or text them, and what their preferred method of contact is. Just because some people like to talk on the phone, I would tell you the other 50% don't want to talk on the phone. So you need to find out what the best way to communicate with your host is going to be. And that's how you need to communicate with them. What's best for you is not always best for them. And in order to have great results, you need to communicate however is the best way for them. So at that point, you're going to go through your host packet and you're going to point out the most important things. What are the most important things? The order forms and the kit credit. Okay, why are those the two most important things? Well, the order forms, because think about this. If we're encouraging them to book or to collect orders, right, from people that are not going to be there at the party, we want to make sure that we have a way to contact those people for future orders, for future bookings, for future consultants. So how many times, raise your hand if you have given out order forms in a host packet and you've gotten those order forms back and they had just the person's name on them and that was it. It ever happened to anyone? Okay. So it's happened to me too until I actually started communicating my expectations to the host. Why is it important? Well, think about it. If you don't have a way to follow up with those 5 or 7 people that place outside orders from a host, guess what? It's a loss for your future business, okay? Because me as a consultant, one of the things that I do every Monday, so most of you guys know, like I said, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are my show days, okay? So my business, my office actually reopens on Monday for the most part, where I sit down and do all my paperwork stuff. Part of what I do on Monday is I contact anybody that I had outside order forms from, and I make sure I call to thank them for placing an order on so-and-so's party, and also offer them the opportunity to book their own show. How many of you guys do that? So I will tell you, if that's the only thing that you take away from this training, that is the one piece that you need to take away, okay, is to coach your host to make sure those order forms are filled out so you have a way to contact those people. Why is the kit credit important? Well, we all know who is your number one potential recruit. It's always going to be your host, right? They are the one that is most excited about having a party with you. They are the ones that have a huge wish list because they booked a party with you. And we have an opportunity to help them get a new consultant kit at a discount. Now, if the kit credit's not in your host packet, then you're missing out on that piece for sure. Okay. Always remember, your host is always your number one recruit lead, no matter what. So another thing that I communicate right off the bat is that we want to make sure that they know that we need to invite in multiple ways. Okay. So how many of you guys seen the actual invite to this training tonight on our team page? Or how many of you got the tag because I tagged you? Well, I would say that there's 40 people on our team and there's only like 7 of you on here. So the odds are that a lot of people didn't see the invite from Facebook. So just like that affects you, it's also going to affect your parties, right? So a lot of people are not going to see the invite. So it's important to let your hosts know right off the bat that Facebook cannot be the only way that you guys invite people, okay? So there's lots of different ways that you can go about inviting people to a party. My preferred is always either mailing invitations for them, creating a textable invite, or giving them postcards that they can hand deliver to their friends and family. So those are the 3 other options. I always create a Facebook invite, but they need to pick at least one of the other options in order to have a successful party. If they tell me, oh, Facebook's just good enough, and I tell them no, it's really not going to be good enough. From my experience, okay, and that's where I want you guys to write those words down, from my experience, and underline it, okay? Our hosts are entrusting their party to you to make it successful. So who are they going to be looking to for advice or tips? Or ultimately, if the party flops, who's responsible? Do you think that they're going to blame themselves for having an ineffective party? It's always going to come back to us. So we need to always remember that we are the experts when it comes to having a party, okay? So our opinions need to be validated by them so that they understand that from our experience, this is how they're going to get the best results, okay? So from my experience, those words are really important. They send red flags up in your host's ears because it's just telling them, I have experience with this. Trust me, believe in me, okay? But again, it goes back to the confidence factor. You have to be confident enough to say, from my experience or in my experience, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, if you're going to create a Facebook event, then you need to friend request them on Facebook. I have actually found more and more lately that a lot of people are not even on Facebook anymore. They're tired of the drama and they're tired of the stuff. So if they're not on Facebook, then you definitely have to take a little bit more control over the invite process. So within 24 hours, or depending where I'm at in my weekend, on Monday, I will always text message them or whatever their preferred way was, okay? And I will always call, text, message, whatever, them to say thank you for booking a party with me, okay? I let them know then, thank you so much for booking a show with me this weekend. It was awesome to meet you at Sally Sue's party. I can't wait to help you earn tons of free at your own show, okay? Keep it simple, okay? Your host packets do not need to be this thick, okay? They need to be simple because remember, your host packet is not making you any extra money, right? Host packets do not speak for you. You speak for the host packet. So what I put in my host packet is really simple. It's 3 catalogs. It's 7 order forms. It's a Join Us brochure. It's a kit credit. I use the home office folders because they're packed with information. They save me all the extra ink, okay? Yes, I know they're a little bit pricier, but I'm telling you, since I switched to those folders, it is an absolute godsend. And then I do postcard invites in there if I'm mailing it and I haven't given it at the show. And I also put the specials in there. So like I said, I work the weekend. The Monday after the party is when I really get back into the office and I start to work on their shows. So Monday after the party, okay, because again, I book most of my shows on the weekend, or normally 3 to 4 weeks out from the show, okay? So if you've booked a party outside of a show, my host coaching typically after the party has happened, let's say it's been a couple months since they booked the show, 3 to 4 weeks out is when I really start working on everybody's parties, okay? So number one, I make sure they're in my calendar on a sticky note. Why do I put them on a sticky note? Because people change dates, okay? It's going to happen. It's going to happen to the best of us. But I will tell you, with effective coaching, host coaching, your cancellation rate will drop in half at least. I have 16 shows this month. I'm sure 1 or 2 of them will probably end up canceling and moving, but I'm prepared for it. I had 10 shows last month, 10 shows held. The month before I had 12 shows and only 7 held. So it's going to happen. But with host coaching, you can keep your numbers down. So I always make sure they're in my calendar on a sticky note, again, so that I can move them around if I need to. I mark my calendar on the sticky note as I complete each one of my tasks for my hosts. It's just a simple way for me to know what I've already done for every show. So on the sticky note, you would see the name, and their telephone number, their preferred method of contact, and then you'll just see little letters. So on there, My P stands for packet, so I know that they already have their host packet. I would have C, that I've already created on Consultants Corner. I would have F, that I created a Facebook event for them. I would have R, which was for Red Stamp when Red Stamp was around, but it's my textable invite, okay, that I've sent to them. And then you'll see the numbers 1, 2, and then 3. That just means that I've made my first, my second, and my third contact to them, okay? So that's my really simple system. When I open up my calendar, I can look and see exactly what I've done and what I have not done. So 3 to 4 weeks out, if you have not already given them a host packet, this is when I mail my host packet to them. And I let them know that I'm going to follow up and make sure that it's arrived. I create the show in Consultants Corner and I set up the Facebook party. I text or I message a textable invite to them that day. That way they have it and they can go ahead and send out a save the date. So summertime, let's talk about summertime for a second, because summertime is where we get a little bit trickier, okay? Summertime, you're going to see higher cancellation rates no matter what kind of party, again, because people's lives get busy, right? Everybody's heard it. I'm so busy this summer. Well, are you really any busier in the summer than you are in the fall and winter? Probably not, but we have more excuses in the summer, like it's really pretty outside and I don't want to clean my house. So one thing that you're going to find is that sometimes it's a little bit harder to communicate with your host in the summertime with vacations, graduations, school canceling, school's out, all of the things that come with summer. And so I want you guys to know on Consultants Corner that there are 3 host coaching letters that I swear by. I use them every single summer. I print them out as I book my shows. So every Monday for the shows that I've just booked over the weekend, I make all of my letters. So I have 3 per host. I put them in envelopes. I go ahead and address them. I put my postage on them. Then I put a little sticky note with the date that I need to mail them. And I'm going to go through here and explain how I mail them to you. So on that Monday is when I send host coaching letter number 1. Okay, so the 3 to 4 week out mark. Okay. All right, so now we're 2 weeks out. So 2 weeks before the party, I mail host letter number 2. And again, there's going to be those sticky notes with the dates, so you always know when those letters need to be mailed. 2 weeks out, I call, text the host, whichever the preferred way was, and talk about outside orders, see how that's going, and remind them that they'll want to encourage people that are unable to attend to place an outside order with them, or they can use a personal shopping link to order. At this moment, I have them send me a wish list, okay? We're going to talk about the wish list here in a couple minutes, but I want to know what their big ticket items are. It doesn't have to be an extravagant wish list, okay? It needs to be the top 5 items that are on their wish list. You want to know what they're after and what the reason is that they booked the party with you. Ask them at this time if they have given any thoughts to joining your team and encourage them that they can use the kit credit in their packet, or you could turn this party into their launch and they could start making money right there and then at the show. But that this is the only chance that they have to do that. Okay, I'm really big that if I go any further than this, I'm making the paycheck. Okay, after this, with all the time and energy I put into it, I'm collecting my darn paycheck when I get to that show if they don't tell me at this moment that they want to use or that they want to turn it into their launch party. All right, so 1 week before the party, I mail the last host letter. So that's host coaching letter number 3. Again, I call, text, message, whatever the way was, to check in, find out how many confirmed guests that they have. And why do I say confirmed guests? Does anybody know what the difference is between saying, how many people do you think you're having coming to your show? Or how many confirmed guests do you have? Does anybody know the difference? Believe it or not, there's a big, big difference in that. And I'll tell you why. When you ask somebody, how many people do you think you're going to have at your show? They instantly think of how many people that they invited, right? So they're thinking to themselves, oh, well, I invited like 15 people. Oh, well, I think I'll have 10 to 15 people, right? That, from my experience, is what I've always found. So when I switched it up to saying, how many actual confirmed guests do you have? Then they know that I'm asking who has said yes, that I'm definitely coming. And so you'll see that number go from 10 to 15 to, I have 3 to 5, or I have 5 confirmed guests. You're actually going to get a more accurate count for people when you ask them about confirmed guests. Why is it important to know 1 week out from the show how many confirmed guests that they have? It is absolutely critical to your show to know this at this moment 1 week out. And why? Because you both still have time to react to it. So if she says, I have 3 to 5 people that are confirmed, you need to have hair on fire, okay? 3 to 5 people means, again, who knows the numbers law when it comes to direct sales? Remember, if you have 5 confirmed guests, what's going to happen the last minute, guys? You're only going to have about a quarter of the people that have actually said they're coming come to your show. So you're going to really end up with 1 to 2 people at your show. Do you guys want to work this hard for 1 to 2 people? Or would you rather work this hard for 12 to 14 people? So that 1 week out is when you have time to react to it if she's struggling. That's where the wish list comes back into play, okay? So most times they struggle because they really haven't even started asking people. So if I have what I would call, really it's kind of like blackmail in my back pocket and I know what they're after, then I can use that to my advantage. So when I can say, well, Laura, you really wanted to get that rock crock for 60% off. That means, in Becky terms, that we really need to have your party over $200 in sales in order to get your rock crock for 60% off. So it's just another way that you can encourage them, whether from a virtual perspective or a cooking show perspective. It's always important to know what they were after. Just like it's important for us to know why we do this business, it's important for them to know what they want from their show. So if we use it as blackmail, we use it as blackmail. But I'm telling you, it's one of the strongest weapons that you have to know why and what they want from your show. So at this point, I discussed recipe choices, and I can tell you guys, I am pretty big on, I have a host menu selection that's in an Evernote. I send that to them. It's just made my life super, 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 super simple. This month, I'm doing things a little bit different. I'm offering, it'll probably end up being the same recipes this month, all month long, but because I have 16 shows, so I have 4 parties every weekend, and so it's back to back to back to back to back, that is just going to save me time to offer the same recipe all weekend long so I can wash my tools and put them back in my backpack, or my backpack, yeah, whatever, backpack. Back in my bag to keep things simple for myself so I don't get super stressed out about it, okay? So I want you guys to decide what your recipes look like, what you offer, okay? Same thing with your virtual party. You need to know what you're offering them as far as a theme goes. Just please keep in mind that when you're offering recipes for a cooking show, that your recipes always need to be centered and focused around power tools, okay? That is what's going to drive your bookings. So after we've decided and talked about what recipe we're going to do, then I send them a very, very, can I say it again, very specific ingredient list, okay? Why do I send specific ingredient lists? Well, if you say you need cheddar cheese, what do you think you're going to get? You're going to get a bag of shredded cheddar cheese. If you say I need garlic, what do you think you're going to get? You're going to get that jar of already minced garlic. Oh no, Nikki, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
All right, sorry,
no.
y'all see.
Oh no.
I had a heart attack. I heard this major bump. I go thinking my daughter fell. I run upstairs, I run downstairs, and my basement is flooded. So
I
gotta go,
I'm
guys.
so sorry. Okay, dear. All right, talk to you later, honey.
I'll catch the playback.
Okay, bye. Okay, so when you send an ingredients list, just be specific. Okay, you're going to get what you ask for when they're, getting your ingredients. So I always specify 8-ounce block of sharp cheddar cheese, 2 cloves of garlic. And this is because we need to make sure that we can use the tools that we want to use at our parties and not just, put a spoon of this in and throw a handful of this in. We actually need to utilize our tools. So that was 1 week out. 2 days before the party, this is my final contact with the host. So 2 days out, again, I asked for the final head count, how many confirmed guests that she has. And this is just so I can be prepared with enough catalogs and supplies with me. And then I ask them to confirm that they found all of the ingredients that they need for their party. Okay. So pretty specific. So again, this is how I've been successful with cooking shows. I think that you need to have a strategy when it comes time to how you're going to host coach. Once you have an idea of how you're going to host coach, then it's all about scheduling all of the time to do it. So like I said, Mondays for me are pretty busy because I'm really, working on a lot of shows all at one time. So with virtual host coaching, I can tell you, like I said earlier, I think that you really have to stay glued to those hosts a little bit more than what you do with a cooking show host, because normally when I work with virtual parties, and I know Tiffany does this too, she mails her host packets out normally about, is the same, like 3 to 4 weeks out from her party. When the packet actually arrives to the host, she calls, and that's when she does a host coaching call. So she calls every single last one of her hosts, okay? She's on the phone. She's chatty. She's normally on the phone 45 minutes. Me, I would be about 10 minutes and done because I can't stand the phone. But that's where she basically does the same thing that I do with cooking shows, in that we go through the host packet, we go through the expectations, and then we just confirm to them that, they have to trust us to know how to do our jobs. So in my opinion, that's what makes us successful, is that we really teach them how to have a good party, no matter whether it's a cooking show or a virtual party. So Kristen, I know you're on with us. Do you have any other tips that you would like to share on virtual host coaching?
No.
She's like, nope.
No, I mean, I just sent out a packet and just keep in contact with them about their part. They're pretty much same thing.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's not rocket science, really. I think host coaching comes down to consistency in everything that you do. Okay. And when you really look at our businesses are all about consistency. Would you guys all agree? When you're consistent with following up with people with recruiting or booking leads, when you're consistent with doing customer care calls, when you're consistent with offering good sales tips and or good cooking tips and recipe tips at your parties, these are all the things that are going to yield you great results. Host coaching just happens to be, in my opinion, after doing it for 7 years, the absolute most important thing that you can do for your personal business is host coach. If I would tell you how I would divide my time, if I had a pie and how I would divide my time between host coaching and other activities, 75% of my time for my business is spent on host coaching. Okay. I know you guys have heard me say it before. Host coaching is absolutely where you make all of your money at, and you pick up your paycheck at the show. So not only is host coaching going to help you by keeping your cancellation rate lower, but it also, I want you guys to think about this. How many of you guys have ever, okay, so who's done cooking shows? Raise your hand if you've done a cooking show. Some of you guys I can't see. I know some of you guys haven't done cooking shows. How many of you guys have done a virtual party and at the last minute they cancel? So same thing with a cooking show. So in my opinion, what I've always done when I have a large amount of cancellations, I kind of reflect backwards and think about where my host coaching was and how good of a job I did with host coaching. Because honestly, I can tell you the months that I am weak in host coaching and I don't do my full strategy every month, that's when I have my highest amount of cancellations. And I'll tell you why, because nobody wants to feel like they let somebody else down, okay? And so if we haven't stayed connected to our host, whether a cooking show or a virtual show, the odds of them backing out last minute are going to be pretty high because they don't want to let us down, okay? They don't want to feel like they failed you. And so the more you're connected to the host, the closer of a friendship and relationship you have. So they know you're there to support them 150%, right? They know that you're in it more than just for a paycheck. At this point, you're in it for a friendship too. So they're going to work harder for you. When they feel a sense of relationship is when they're not going to back down from you, okay? They're not going to cancel on you when they know that you're counting on them. If you don't have that connection with them, the odds are it's really not going to cross their mind whether they cancel or have a party. They're just going to cancel. There's not going to be a hesitation in their mind. So that's why these steps of host coaching are really not about all of the steps. It's really about all of the contacts that build a relationship with them, more so than anything else. All right, so who has questions for me? Because we have some time to ask questions. It can be host coaching. It can be anything else.
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Tristan.
Hi, Tristan.
Hi. To send out that the text message, like I have a host that I just talked to tonight. She's going to do her party the Saturday before Father's Day, and she asked me because she put it on Facebook. And I told them, certainly. But I want to send her something that she can text her other guests.
Right. So are you asking what I use to do those?
Yes, to send her something that she can send out as a text.
Okay. So there's lots of different picture programs that you can use out there to make them. One of the programs that we used for the longest time was called Red Stamp, but they just closed their doors, so we can't use that one anymore. For most, I would say about 95% of all the graphics that I make, I use Canva. There's an app of it, and then there's also the website version of it. I prefer the website version of it myself. I think the app's a little bit more difficult to use. But I actually make all of my text invites on there, which I love because I can save it and then I can go right back into it and I can re-edit it for another host. So it's not like I have to recreate it over and over again. I can just edit it every time I need it.
Is that Canva?
Yeah. Okay. And what I'll do, are you tech savvy, Patricia?
Yes.
Okay. So I was going to say, for those of you guys that are not tech savvy, what I can do is I can try, I don't know if it'll happen tomorrow. I'll write it on my notes and list to do for sometime the beginning of next week because my son graduates tomorrow. My daughter's moving out Friday. It's going to be a full weekend. And then I have 3 shows. I'll write it on my to-do list next week to make a video for you guys to see how you can actually create the invite on Canva. That way you guys can know how to walk through it step by step.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. Anybody else? Well, I know Brittany's on with us. Happy birthday, Miss Brittany.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Another year older.
Yeah, don't remind me.
You're just catching up. It's all good.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have questions? Brittany, do you have any questions?
Nope, no questions.
No questions? Okay. Kiana, Kristen, Heather, Laura, anybody? No questions?
No.
Okay. All right. So I would just encourage you guys, make every single show count, no matter if you have 1 show on your calendar or you have 16 and are ready to rip your hair out, okay? Make every single show that you guys do count, right? Because the better the results that you have from your party, guess what happens? People see success and they want to duplicate it. And so when someone sees, when they go to Laura's party and there's 12 or 14 people and they know that that host's house that they're at is getting ready to get $215 in free stuff, guess who else wants to have a big $215 shopping spree? So the more successful that party's going to be, the more people want the same kind of results for themselves. And so that's where you're going to see your bookings at. All right, guys. Well, if nobody has anything, I guess we will have a good night. And thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to mark your calendars for our next team meeting. It will be, of course, the second Monday. But there's a chance, and I'm going to talk with Nikki, that we might be moving it to Sunday nights because it seemed like we had much better attendance on Sunday night than we did on Monday. So of course I will let you guys know if that date changes. How many of you guys on here would be better with a Sunday night than a Monday night?
Me.
So Brittany said yes.
It doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
Sunday
Kristen,
night is good for me.
okay, Trisha, okay.
Either one, but probably Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking from talking to a couple different people, and it just from when we did that when we did it that last Sunday, we had a lot more attendance. So I'm thinking we might change it. Me and Nikki haven't finalized anything, so as soon as we know, though, we'll let you guys know whether we're changing or not. So make sure you've marked your calendars that week anyway, either that Sunday or Monday. And then also just a reminder that in July we're going to have a summer picnic at my house. Which I'm super excited about because it'll be the first time we've done that. It's not going to be about work. It's just going to be about having fun and having our families together. Laura, you should totally drive up with Joe and the kids for it. I'm just saying.
I should, huh?
Huh?
I said I should, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. So mark your calendar for that. And then still, don't forget conferences in August. Laura, I'm excited that you decided you're coming with us. That makes me so happy. We would love to have more of you guys at National Conference. It is an absolute blast. So anyway, all right, guys, you guys have a great night. Have a great weekend. And oh, by the way, Wolfpack, y'all are slamming this month. That's all I can say. Highest month so far this year. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Love it.
Boom.
No. All right, guys, have a great evening.
Good night.
Good night.